All right, everyone, welcome to supply part of econ. Today we're going to go over just the supply part. Last week we did demand, we did shifts in demand, and now we're just going to do supply. Supply I think is easier because you guys already understand the concept of demand. Supply is just literally the stuff on the shelf. So what's quantity supplied? This is the amount of good that sellers, okay, so people that are selling the product, are willing and able to sell. So think of Apple. How many iPhone 12s are they willing and able to sell once that new iPhone comes out? And the law of supply is different. So if you're taking notes while you are watching this, you want to make sure you draw these arrows, because if you notice, the arrows are going the same way. The more you supply, the more the price goes up. Okay, so the quantity supplied of a good rises when the price of the good rises. And you could even think about it this way if you're a little bit confused by that. If the iPhone 12 is $3,000, no one is going to buy it. So there's going to be more that are sitting on the shelf. Or items that are in demand also go up in price if they're hard to find. So supply, the arrows go up. So the quantity of the goods supplied rises when the price of the good rises. We're going to look at ice cream again. This is just one of those supply schedules. We just did the demand one last time, and if those of you that were in class, we did it in class together. This is what your graph is going to look like. The supply line always goes up. That is different than the demand line. The demand line always goes down. So if you're looking at this here, how many ice cream cones are you going to make at 50 cents? None, right? It's not worth your time. Why on earth would I sell an ice cream cone for 50 cents? I want to supply my ice cream cones. I'm going to make 5 of them and sell them for $3 because that's where I'm going to make the most money. Okay? So the supply line always goes up. So remember, movement is only going to be when the price is changing, and a movement is just dot to dot. We had talked about this last week, so that's going to be different. So whenever there's a movement along the supply curve, that's caused by a change in anything that alters the quantity supplied at each price. So each individual price, not the whole price, each individual price is going to cause a movement. Change in quantity supplied, like we had just talked about, the movement. So here it is at $3, and you're going from 1 ice cream cones to 5 ice cream cones. That is considered a movement. See that red arrow going from the A dot to the C dot? That is what a movement looks like. So a rise in the price of ice cream cone results in a movement along the supply curve. Changes in supply. There's also going to be shifts in supply. This is very similar to demand. There's just different things that could cause a shift. So a shift in the supply curve is either going to be the left or the right, just like the demand line, and it's caused by a change in the determinant other than the price. So this is what your shifts are going to look like. There's our original supply line. If we have an increase in supply, that's going to move to the right. If we have a decrease in supply, that's going to move to the left. So it's just like the demand line, it's just going up. That's the biggest difference. Here are all the things that could affect supply and why it might move. I decided to make it spell store. So resources is going to be the very first one. Okay, so if there's any changes in resources, that is going to affect the line to shift. Technology, all of a sudden I have a machine that can make 1,000 ice cream cones an hour. That's going to increase my supply of ice cream cones. Expectations. This is similar to the demand one. All of a sudden, we expect it to be really hot out tomorrow. So we are going to supply more ice creams tomorrow. Number of sellers. That's going to shift the supply line. And change in opportunities or government controls. Let's say the government all of a sudden puts a cap on how much milk we can buy for our ice cream store. That'll affect our supply. So these 5 things will shift your line. So you have 5 things that will shift the demand line that spells tires, And now you have 5 things that could shift your supply line that spells store. So we're going to also talk about in this presentation supply and demand together. Okay? So the equilibrium on any graph, which I'm sure you guys have heard that term before, is from math, is when quantity supplied and quantity demand are equal. So I will show you that on a graph here in a second.